The future of the Need for Speed franchise is almost never felt more uncertain, or rather, more interesting than it does right now. See, for decades, the franchise has been one of racing's most recognizable names. From the neon streets of the early 2000s to modern open-world police chases, it has survived console generations, studio changes, and shifting player tastes. But in 2026, rumors of a possible blackout, development shakeups, and a potential return to underground roots have shaken the community in a way few racing franchises experience. The question's simple: is a new Need for Speed coming? And if it is, what shape will it really take? To understand the current situation, we need to look at where the franchise stands right now. The most recent entry, Need for Speed Unbound, launched with a bold art direction and a mix of realistic cars and lots of flash. It was a creative risk. Some players praised its fresh style and street culture vibe, while others, of course, felt it strayed too far from the grounded tone they preferred. Commercially, however, the response was solid but not explosive. Critically also, it landed in that familiar middle ground the franchise has occupied for years. Not a failure, of course, but not a cultural reset either. And we think that's where the rumors begin. See, over the past year, multiple reports have suggested the development resources of its developers have shifted towards assisting with other major EA projects, including entries in the Battlefield franchise. Now, while this is not unusual for large publishers, it actually raised eyebrows among racing fans. If the core Need for Speed team is helping elsewhere, what does that really mean for the next installment right now? Some insiders suggest that the next Need for Speed is still in early development. Others whisper something more concerning: a temporary blackout period for the franchise. So, the team blackout has been circulating across forums and social media, describing the possibility that the EA may allow Need for Speed to rest for a few years. Not cancel it, not abandon it, but just pause it. And of course, for longtime fans, that idea feels both frightening and strangely also hopeful. See, Need for Speed has always been cynical. It peaks, it experiments, it recalibrates. The early 2000s era, especially Need for Speed Underground 2 and Need for Speed Most Wanted, remain legendary. Those games captured car culture at the exact right moments. Customizing was deep, soundtracks were iconic, the nighttime street racing atmosphere felt electric, and since then the franchise has chased that magic repeatedly. Some entries leaned into realism, other ones leaned into open world. Some emphasized police pursuits, others focused on car meets and culture, but none of them fully recreated the cultural impact of the underground era. We think that's why the current rumors are so powerful, because alongside whispers of a blackout are equally loud whispers of a return to roots. Several industry leaks suggest that EA is aware of the demand for a more grounded, street-focused entry. A game that goes back to dense city maps, heavy customization and dark tone, not just open highways and countryside routes, but tight urban streets filled with atmosphere. Fans are calling it Underground 3, even though no official title exists. The idea would be simple but meaningful. Just scale back the sprawling maps, focus on a carefully designed city, and rebuild the sense of community and rivalry that defined the mid-2000s games. Customization also would be deep again, online car meets that feel alive rather than menu-driven. In other words, a return to culture instead of spectacle. However, here's where the blackout theory complicates things in fact. So EA has been restructuring development priorities across its studios. Major franchises like Battlefield and sport titles often receive first call on resources. Racing games, specifically arcade races, exists in a crowded market. Sim races dominate one corner, open world festival races dominate another one. So where does Need for Speed really fit today? It sits between worlds. Not fully simulation, not fully arcade fantasy, not fully live service, not even fully narrative driven. That identity crisis could explain the current uncertainty. Like if EA chooses to pause the franchise for 2 to 3 years, it may be to rethink its long-term direction. Rather than releasing just another entry, the publisher could be planning a larger reinvention. And that reinvention might take time. There is speculation that the next Need for Speed may shift engines or adapt a more unified technology platform. And while previous entries used the Frostbite engine, developers occasionally spoken out its strengths and challenges for racing games. If the franchise undergoes a technical reset, whether that means upgrading Frostbite or moving to a different framework, that alone could explain a longer development gap. Technical transitions slow things down, but they also create opportunity. Then there's the cultural factor. See, car culture has changed dramatically since the underground era. Social media, global tuning communities, and digital car showcases have transformed how enthusiasts engage with cars. A modern Need for Speed that leans into these shifts could feel fresh without abandoning its roots. Like imagine a game where underground racing scenes vary by region. Police chases could return to a more aggressive style. And unlike previous entries, online integration could be seamless rather than separate. Your story mode reputation, for example, could influence your multiplayer standing. All that being said, still, none of this is really confirmed. EA has not officially announced a new Need for Speed. That silence is what fuels the blackout theory most strongly. If there were a new entry coming soon, marketing teasers would likely have begun. If a new Need for Speed is indeed in development, it may need to make bold choices. It could abandon annual or biannual cycles entirely and instead focus on a longer-term platform model, like a core game supported for years with expansions, lots of cars and evolving city districts. Or maybe it could return to a tightly crafted single-player campaign with memorable rivals and a structured progression ladder. It could even embrace next-generation hardware fully. Perhaps the most important decision is the tone. Need for Speed thrives when it knows exactly what it wants to be. Underground new, most wanted new, even hot pursuit new. Clarity, we think, is power. We think the wait may be actually worth it. Right now the franchise stands as a crossroads. On one side is continuation, on another side is reinvention, sharper identity, technical ambition. The silence from EA suggests something is happening behind closed doors. Whether that something is a pause, a reboot, or a slow rebuild remains unknown. But one thing's certain, Need for Speed is too iconic to fade away quietly. The streets may feel empty right now, but somewhere behind studio walls and corporate meetings, the next race is being mapped out. And when the lights turn green again, the franchise will either redefine itself or risk becoming a memory of midnight streets and neon dreams. For now, all we have to do is to wait in the dark, listening for the sound of vengeance returning.